Barber Motorsports Park for the final round of the MotoAmerica AMA North American Road Race Championship. And the grid is set right now. Of course, qualifying is done and dusted. We had that earlier, but we're getting ready for the warm-up lap where riders will get a really good look at the racetrack. More important, I think, to get this warm-up lap and to really check out where any water might be seeping up through the track. If you're joining us just now, with the rains that fell when Hurricane Irma came through this area, really soaked the area, and some of the cracks in the track here on the surface at Barber Motorsports Park, there's been some water seeping up through the surface that caught some riders out, and of course it catches your attention as well, Jason.
Yeah, they're going to have to be careful and have a look at that as they go, Greg. We're going to get a look at the starting grid here. Garrett Gerloff, mid 26.5, only rider in the 26th. Ran a string of them this morning. Closing that gap to half second. Best lap to best lap. So you can sustain it like you did in New Jersey in that second race round. Jason Aguilar, and how great is it to see Gilbert up on that second row. I know Jason Farrell's doing a lot with him. Jason Fade, Daytona Anderson, great sport, outside of row 3, then Anthony Mazziato, our winner from New Jersey. Miles Thornton, great to see Miles Thornton back in the series. Then a couple of years, it feels like same with Caleb Trail. Both those guys just struck in row 4. Good qualifying spot for both of them. Connor Blevins, Michael Gilbert, Coach Anthony Lee on row 5. Still Giannato, Lucas Silva, and I don't believe St. Richardson is lining up in this race right now. This morning, I don't think correct. I think he's sitting out. Brandon Cleveland, Daniel Payne, Nolan Lampkin on row 7. Then we got Nick Dooley, Nick Back, Steve Deep, Robert Pierce, also another guy who's did a bunch of our rounds at the beginning of the year. Jared Cassini, Max Mendes, Mark Rose, Dave Reese, Tony Thompson.
So we have 31 riders lining up for this Supersport Superstock 600 race. Joining us here on beIN Sports for MotoAmerica Racing for the first time. This is the class inside of the class. So you have Supersport, that's denoted by the white backing, the blue numbers, and then the Superstock 600. Red backing, yellow numbers. That's the way to distinguish the different classes. They're scored in 2 different ways. There's an overall, so how you see them on the racetrack is how they score, and then there is that Superstock 600 championship. So even if you're, say, 6th, Jason, overall, but through the first Superstock 600, you get the maximum points of 25 in that championship. So we'll check out Jason Aguilar and Michael Gilbert progress, but let's look at the JPP race.
I think Girloff's going for the win. I don't think he's got anything to lose. He's got a 46-point lead. He's riding very comfortably, and I think the only person that can beat Garrett now is Garrett. I think that's not going to happen. He's riding with such confidence, so much control, that I think Garrett's going to be, he's going to go out there and try to get this race win. Aguilar on fire this morning in qualifying. I put that up there, Greg. This guy needs a little bit of credit. We've been watching him lead the championship and be second in the championship, and we haven't talked about him as much as we should. He's just kind of been really quiet, but what he showed me this morning, only rider in the 28s on 600 Superstock class, and he did it consistency. And then the season aggression. A lot of these guys are trying to figure out what they're going to do for 2018, and I think that we're probably going to see some aggression coming out. We got some championship battles, obviously in Superstock, those guys wanting to prove themselves. And I think that between Valentin and Benny Solis, they want to try to get up there and ride with those Yamahas again. So we'll see what happens here. After this weekend, Greg, we had a long layoff.
Number 1 plate, Monster Energy Yamalu YS Graves Yamaha, Garrett Gerloff on a 7-race win streak. He's won 10 so far this season. Can he do it again? One of the people you got to look out for is the 95 JD Beach. Can he get a good launch? So here we go. We're off and running. And JD with a good jump. He's going to bend it into turn number 1, and he's going to get in front of his teammate for the moment.
Yep, he did exactly what he had to do right there. He did exactly what he needed to do. Jason Aguilar gets pushed wide by Nick McFadden as they go up into turn 2. But JD's done it again. He's got that good start that he needs. Now let's see if anybody can do anything with Garrett to prevent him from going to the front.
Benny Solis on that Honda back there in 4th spot. Valentin to be his M4 X-Star Suzuki right behind him.
So Benny got in there just a little bit deep, Greg, and it's going to cause him to overslow. And now he's got to just try to keep his head looking forward and try to stay with these 3 guys.
We've talked about Garrett Gerloff and the surge that he has put on since Dunlop introduced that new 180 tire. I think it really needs to be talked about with Garrett Gerloff. Gerloff had all the tools in his toolbox, but when Dunlop brought out that tire, that 180 tire, it was just that extra tool that he needed, the last component to put together 7 race wins in a row.
Hello. Oh, look. Oh. Mazziato gets out over the outside curving there, but you're 100% right. Now, this is the kind of track that it's very flowing, and you heard Garrett say in his interview that it's a very difficult track to pass on. So where Garrett has really maximized the performance of this bike and himself and the tires is being able to carry that roll speed, and it's really hard to do if you've got somebody in front of you. So he's going to have to be a little strategic on where he wants to make his passes. And let's be honest with you, JD Beach flies around here. We've seen him win here countless times before, so he's not going to be the easiest guy to get past.
JD Beach on that first lap, 29.5. It's early days. One thing when I was talking to JD, you notice that he takes tighter lines than Garrett Gerloff is in a lot of the sections. JD told me that he often practices that during the practice sessions, as Girloff now is going to try to take advantage of JD leaving the door
Greg.
open. He is down in there.
He's shaking his head, and he knew, Greg.
Oh.
He knew right off the bat, and that's the whole thing. Now he's just got to settle himself down. He knows he's got pace. The field are still tightly closed together. There was no way he was going to make that. You can see him shaking his head. Now he's just got to relax, Greg. He knows he's in deep. Watch him shake his head. Now it's just a matter. That's just pure bike control. Even though he's out of control, he knew he was out of control. No sense in trying to make the turn. This is a big opportunity for JD Beach to close some points. Anything can happen, Greg.
Anything can happen, and we're going to have to keep a close eye on Garrett Gerloff, because we only pay back to 15th. So if Garrett ended up there, because the beginning of the race is where it's really dangerous to run off the racetrack in terms of losing positions. So now he's got all that risk associated with trying to get around these riders. So if Garrett Gerloff, for some reason, doesn't finish in the points and JD wins this thing, all of a sudden 46 points, JD will grab 25 of those points back, and that'll be only 21. Then all of a sudden now, JD's still alive in this chase.
Now, 27.6. First flying lap for JD Beach. That's a very, very fast lap time. And, this morning, Greg, looking at the lap times, he did 27 flat. But you can see Garrett Gerloff is already going to be starting to go by these guys. He goes underneath Brandon Cleland as he heads down there. Let's see what place he came across, Greg. He came across in 16th.
So he just worked his way to a point.
Plenty of time.
And as of note, when he came across that start-finish line, he looked over at his pit board and looked at his crew, took his left hand off the bar, and just said, guys, don't worry, I got this. I got this.
He's got a big enough lead in the points, Greg. All he's got to do is he's just got to get a point, really, is all he's got to do, and be able to get this thing really going. And he's already one spot out of the point. Actually, he's up to 15th already.
So he's got a point.
He's in the points. He's got Andrew Lee directly in front of him. He'll probably go by Andrew as they come out of this next right-hand corner.
So the key in this one is he just needs to score enough points to have 25 points advantage over JD Beach. In that particular instance, based on race wins, even if Garrett fell off yesterday and they tied in, or tomorrow, and tied in points, that Garrett would win the championship.
And honestly, I almost feel like it takes the pressure off of Garrett a little bit. I feel like now he kind of feels like, okay, I'm not going to win the race. So now I just need to get back up.
Which is oftentimes how you want to win a championship. I get it. You know, Tony Elias was like that. He just wanted to win the race and show that he belonged on the top step of the podium. But JD Beach, with such a huge advantage now.
And he's gone 27.6 this last lap. And this is going through the turn, the last go. You can see he's getting on the gas pretty early there, trying to just increase that gap. But right now, JD Beach out front, 27.6, fastest lap of the race.
Down into Charlotte's Web. You can see that Valentin DeBees and Benny Solis. Benny Solis, without question, has made a bit of a jump in these last couple race weekends. I talked to Benny extensively about his race performance last weekend. And I said it on the broadcast where I said, look, Benny has finished third 4 times. And Solis, each time Valentin DeBees has exited the race or had a problem, Benny is desperate to get on the podium by racing for it. So this is another situation. He wants to finish second. He doesn't want to finish third. And he wants to do it by beating someone because, he's in a position right now to score his 5th podium, but it's not enough for the Callan Adventures rider because he really wants to race for it. Losing a little bit of touch in certain parts of the racetrack, getting that CBR 600RR close to that GSXR 600, but...
And you know what, Greg? There's places where the 600, his Honda 600 has worked really well. And there's some places where they've just literally struggled. They tell me that this bike, if they just change it 1 millimeter in any direction, it's like a gigantic change because they've fine-tuned this motorcycle so much at this point, Greg, that any little change they make now can sometimes take them completely out of the ballpark. But what I want to pay attention to here is, as we've seen in other races, if those guys can just kind of keep JD honest, they can continue to run a consistent pace, and you can see this guy's just carving his way through people.
Ripping.
Is Garrett Gerloff.
So now he's coming up on Braden Nort, who's in 7th spot on the racetrack. And now, next on his list is going to be Daytona Anderson, Nick McFadden, and Jason Aguilar, who are racing it up as well.
And if you get a little look at that, bike that Braden Nort's on. His team this weekend has given him a special livery.
Whoa!
It's close there, but he's got the big Canadian flag on the side. It's been great having Braden Nort riding for Tuned Racing this year. Those guys have put a great bike under him. He's a race winner so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the future. But right now, he's showing he's got some real speed, Greg, because he's holding Garrett off for these last 3 or 4 corners. But that bike looks great.
Out of Calgary, the Canadian doesn't even know it. He probably thinks someone's trying to race him up who's in his class.
You might think it's Mazziato, because Mazziato's just behind him. And we'll see now as Garrett is doing his best. But look at Ort's done a great job this lap. Oh, wow, that's a big move for Garrett. Wow, that is a big move.
That is aggressive, and it kind of shows you that Girloff wants to get on the podium, at least stand on the proper podium if he can.
That's amazing.
To hold on to that #1 plate. So he's worked his way up.
I'm so happy to hear you.
To 7th place.
A little bit, but it's not any better than earlier.
7th place is 9 points.
It's better than nothing just now.
Between 25 and 9 points should put him comfortably in that championship. Hold that #1 plate.
The thing is, Greg, he's riding so free and he's riding so aggressive. Look at this pass. You guys don't even know what kind of pass that is. That is so aggressive. I promise you, Braden Nort, who missed that apex by about 3 feet, was not expecting to see a bike go underneath him.
He probably was breathing a sigh of relief to say, oh, it's the #1 plate. Oh, okay. Not racing in my class. Meanwhile, out front, JD Beach has extended his lead to 2.2 seconds over Valentin DeBees and Benny Solis. Last time by the stripe, Valentin had about 0.3 of a second over Valentin. JD Beach just a couple tenths. So Beach gets in that mode. He's not one rider just to throw down lap times, just to say, oh, I have the fastest lap of the race. He's out there managing this lead because he knows what's awaiting him in 14 laps from now if he can keep it on 2 wheels.
Absolutely, and JD is great at leading races. I mean, he just gets himself into a mode and looks up the track. And, you know, I always think to myself, I just want to be the first one to the first back marker, especially when you see your board going +3, +4. Kind of give you a little bit of extra motivation of something to look forward to as the race wore on. But right now, he's going to continue to see that. He doesn't really know, I don't think, how far Garrett ran off the track. He's definitely going to be aware that he did run off the track, though.
JD Beach, little black mark off the rear tire heading into turn #1. And this racetrack, if you get to Barber Motorsports Park, you really see the different elevation changes right off by the natural terrain just outside of Birmingham, Alabama, the city proper, that is. Down into Charlotte's Web, right behind that camera position is a big spider statue. That's pretty spectacular. Let's drop back and check out Jason Aguilar. So it's Beach, DeBees, Solis. Now we're getting to Jason.
A great job. Look at Garrett Gerloff is right behind Nick McFadden. Garrett Gerloff still might catch DeBees and Benny Solis. So, but you look here, you see Jason Aguilar right now. He's doing a tremendous job. There comes Nick McFadden. There's Garrett Gerloff as he's going to slide up underneath Nick. And I talked to Nick a little bit yesterday. I kind of picked Nick to win this weekend coming into Barber. I just had a feeling that Nick's been ramping up again. We've seen him on the podium a lot. And as he has a look over his shoulder, he sees Daytona Anderson just behind him. Good to see Daytona back. He had a little training incident where he had to take a couple of races off and hurt his shoulder a little. But he's back on the bike now, which is good. So we're going to see this lap as they come through here this next time by. I'm very curious to see the kind of lap time that Garrett Gerloff is running.
Jason mentioned Daytona Anderson back in action out of Riverside, California, the M4 Ridiculous Racing Suzuki. But it's this rider, Monster Energy Yamalu YES Graves Yamaha. That's a mouthful for the 95 JD Beach. His teammate Garrett Gerloff trying to march his way
4, 5,
to the checkered flag
6,
and hold
7,
on to that
8,
#1 plate. JD Beach, as desperate as you like to try to get it back, as he was the 2015 Supersport champion here in MotoAmerica. As we approach, or we wrap up year 3 of MotoAmerica as we approach year 4. As now Garrett Gerloff continues his march towards the front, trying to get by Jason Aguilar, who's really good on the brakes.
Yep, and that's going to be a hard place for him to do it, but as you can see here, he's driving off there. Jason's not even going to be worried about Garrett Gerloff. You know, he doesn't. Right now, Jason's got a championship he's trying to win, so I don't think he's going to do too much. I thought for a minute maybe he was going to just prove me
for
wrong,
a minute,
you know?
yeah.
But no, he's trying to win himself a championship. Garrett's not any worry to him right now. Now, I want to see what Garrett Gerloff's got. Up in front of him, about, what is it, Greg? About 11 seconds is Benny Solis and Valentin Nabiz.
Yep.
Let's see what Garrett does as far as his lap times go now.
So with 12 laps to go, you'd figure that Garrett, if he's going to have a chance to chase down JD Beach, I'm not saying it's impossible. We thought it was impossible last week in the Superbike class for Tony Elias to do what he did.
I'm going to tell you,
we're talking about almost 1 second a lap.
I'm going to say it's impossible. JD Beach is not going to let that happen, I promise you. And maybe I'll be wrong, but I think JD Beach is going to be too far out in front. But I'm not going to say that he might not catch the two guys in front of him. Let's see what it is this time by, Greg. So he's 10 seconds behind those two in front of him, and you're exactly right. He could pull off a second a lap, especially if DeBees and Benny start to work against each other at all.
And that battle for second place is definitely closed up. So JD Beach, last time by at 28.1 in traffic. Garrett Gerloff at 28.6. So in terms of first place, JD looks like he's in control. He's got a 4-second lead.
Ooh, what do we got here? I'm trying to figure that one out, Greg. Sorry. You know what? 2:46. I watched that
that's Thomas,
race from earlier on.
This is from Ontario, the Canadian rider.
This bike goes up on the air fence, but Thomas won the last chance qualifier earlier on, and that's turn 6, Greg. That is a nasty place to fall. There's nowhere good to fall. That's nasty, though. And look at this. Benny Solis has climbed back up on the back end of Valentin Nabiz, and this is what I mean. These guys they're gonna have a race with each other, but they got to make sure that they don't slow each other up too much.
They got to get their hustle on too, because if Benny Solis feels like he's got a little bit more pace than Valentin Nabiz as the tires start to wear off, he's got to get by him and set sail, because at this point, depending on the information they're getting from their pit board, someone's got to let them know Garrett Gerloff's on a charge. When Garrett Gerloff comes across the line, we'll get a better idea of what lap time Gerloff's running. So Gerloff, 28.1 at this point, so a half a second quicker than Benny Solis and 0.8 of a second quicker than Valentin Nabiz. So fastest rider on the track at the moment is Garrett Gerloff, as Valentin Nabiz sends that rear wheel in the air for a moment, hard on the brakes.
But if these guys only keep it at sort of a half a second difference, that's gonna make it harder for Garrett to catch him.
Garrett has 9.8 seconds adrift of these riders right now.
Let's keep in mind that Garrett doesn't have to catch these guys.
Right.
So, you know, he might be in that spot now where he doesn't have anybody to worry about. There's nobody around him. Let's go ahead and get this championship today wrapped up, and then from that way tomorrow we can go into the race and just try to get the race win that he feels he probably deserved today. But you know, saying that, 27.6 on race tires right now for JD Beach. That's a very, very fastest lap. And here's the difference in the gap between our guys in second and third and Girloff.
So Girloff in 4th spot, JD Beach leading the way. If it ended now, JD Beach would score 25 points, Garrett Gerloff 13. The difference there, 12. 12 minus 46 is my math, 34 points. That's enough.
Yep.
More than enough for Girloff to grab that #1 plate one more time.
And he'll be smiling and kicking himself for running out in the sand. But he knew he had to try to get by JD, and he wanted to do it early. Sometimes when you get stuck at somebody else's lap time, somebody else's pace. That said, he's gone 27.4. JD went 27.6, so they're gone the same exact pace. There's that battle for second, Greg.
It rages on between M4 Star Suzuki's Valentin Nabiz, Kalen Adventures H35 rider Benny Solis Jr. A family effort over there, but also support from American Honda in Torrance, as well as the M4 Star Suzuki team with support from Suzuki Motor Corporation of America. This late in the season, Jason, you talked about it. You got to get your head up. You got to race right, because we've had a very interesting silly season. It's pretty much been a non-silly season at this point.
Yep.
Usually, riders start talking about if they're going to go different places, secured rides, but things have been pretty quiet.
Well, I think too, Greg, with MotoAmerica, they've just come out and announced kind of some new class structures. It's maybe going to give some people an opportunity to look at where they want to race, what classes they want to race, and some things like that. So that might be why we haven't heard as much. I think everybody knew that there was going to be some structural changes within the series as far as the classes go. And so you see JD Beach, he's already into the back markers now. So I think that's what everybody's kind of been waiting for.
Last time by, JD Beach decided to drop his lap times into the 27, so a 27.8 for Beach to Girloff's 27.8. And JD just has a way, has a flow of this racetrack. He really does, and JD understands that if he doesn't quite have the pace of his teammate Garrett Gerloff, that he's got to get out front early, and he's got to control the way Garrett comes out of the corner. Because Garrett talks about quite often, when we sit at a table and we're talking about racing, Garrett gives away 30 pounds to his teammate JD Beach. JD Beach's 30 pounds lighter. So in Garrett's mind, in his point of view, he needs to get through the corner the way he wants to so he can get on the gas earlier to make up any drive benefit that JD Beach has.
Yeah, well, one of the big things, though, is you see JD styling up over the curbing there.
That's a 9.5 from the Czechoslovakian judge.
Yeah, well, the thing is, too, Greg, when you think about it, just the different riding style now. Here's the battle for second. The riding styles between those two guys, we've documented it a bit this year. JD just likes to square things up. Now these guys are getting into back markers. Let's see if they both go the same direction. Yep, they're both going to go underneath them. So
interesting. Last time by this section, different lines.
Yeah, but they had a back marker. They just went underneath Greg, so you're exactly right.
Valentin to be is really tight. This time he opened it up a little bit. And at least you can see from Benny Solis that he has the ability to take a couple of different lines through that section as well. Valentin to Bees, by the way, you just saw taking a tear off. So if he gets anything on your visor, helmet manufacturers have these thin pieces of mylar. You can just rip them off and it clears it right up.
It doesn't look like Benny is good in the spots that he really needs to be, like coming up over the top of this hill in order to try to do something with Valentin down in this particular corner. I saw something on the track back there.
Yeah, waving flag for some debris on the track too, just as they came over the corner. Somebody lost something there.
Yeah, and Benny seems to be really good in the flowing sections towards the end of the lap, but DeBees is very good at protecting that inside line to the big long turn, the big long rights that leads you back towards the pit lane here. But all through this section, Benny looks pretty solid on that CBR.
Lap traffic just up ahead. The 214 they're coming up on is a Guatemalan rider, Mauricio Roque, on the AGS Racing machine. There's the 214. We'll see if Valentin can get by. Mauricio, a little bit of a lift. Bad spot for Benny Solis.
Yeah, that's bad, but Benny's going to try to cut back up underneath him. He's going to have lost a little spot, but this is where Benny's been able to kind of pick the gap and get it a little bit closer. So we'll see if Benny can rebound from that little bad luck as far as getting through the traffic. Very savvy move by Valentin as they went into turn 11 there.
That FIM World Endurance experience paying off. Got to get to that. Benefits any rider to get to lap traffic first, usually. Depends on the group.
That's right. You saw Garrett Gerloff coming onto the front straightaway behind those guys just then.
So that gap now just down to 6.3 seconds with 6 laps to go. So Garrett's still going to need 1 second a lap quicker than Benny Solis and Valentin DeBees. And last time by, he did it. So Valentin dropped to a 28.5. Benny Solis, with that little bit of lap traffic, dropped down to a 29 flat. So those guys have got to pick up the pace or they're going to lose the podium spot. And when Garrett gets the bit between his teeth, he can see these riders up in front of him. Watch out.
And he's going to have some traffic to deal with too. So it's going to be a bit of a lottery if he can get by the guys where he needs to get by them. He's probably going to get held up just a little bit through this section. And this is the kind of stuff here that could save Benny and Valentin just a little bit. You can see Garrett's just going to take his time going by people at this point.
Well, that helps that battle for the podium. You can see the live championship right part of your screen. That's the way it would be if it ends right now. And after this race, when it's done and dusted, only 25 points available. That means Garrett Gerloff will hold on to his second national championship. This rider, JD Beach, just didn't have it in the middle of the season. When the tire changed, it just didn't quite suit his riding style, and it's taken him a while for he and his team to figure out not only a little bit of adjustments in his riding, but adjustments on that 2017 Yamaha R6.
He's still running 28 flat, Greg. I mean,
I know, which is a good sign for tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's only 4/10 off of his best. So, and it's actually a good race for him to see the kind of lap times that he's turning and to see what changes he might be able to make overnight to improve the motorcycle over race distance.
Yeah, because we know for sure that JD is thinking about what are the things I need to work on to go faster? It's always about going faster. Even when Garrett Gerloff, the rider we're looking at right now, even when he's out front and he's a second faster than the rest of the field, his brain is always working on going quicker.
Oh no, Caleb DeCrail here into turn 6 again, Greg, and usually these bikes start flipping pretty bad. And you can see that's going to happen here with Caleb. That is horrible. It's great to see Caleb get up and walk away. Caleb's been doing a lot of motocrossing over the last sort of year and a half since JD Beach gets a little out of shape, since he hasn't been road racing with us. And I thought he did a tremendous job here this weekend. It's just too bad to see that happen to him going into 6.
JD Beach still pushing pretty hard. You can tell from the attitude of his motorcycle and, of course, the body English. 28 flat last time by. Fastest lap of the race, though, goes to Garrett Gerloff, a 27.4 on lap number 3. But JD Beach, 27.6 his fastest. So 27.6 his fastest on lap 2. And he's only 0.4 of a second less than that slower than he was on his fastest lap. And that's the consistency you want to look for. Mo on the board, 8.5 seconds the gap. So JD comes across the line.
He's got a front straightaway lead now. And here you go, here's the battle. Looks like Benny probably got a little bit hosed in traffic. Again, you see the gap that DeBees has pulled out. I'm sure Benny will tell us about that. Looking at the lap times, he went 29.7, but that said, DeBees did 29.1. But this guy's 27.7 this late in the race.
That's 2 seconds. It's only 4.3 to Benny.
All of a sudden, Benny might have some company. But again, Garrett's got to try to get through all this traffic himself. And he's going to have 3 or 4 guys that he's going to have to go past.
And by the way, in our Superstock 600 battle, Jason Aguilar leads the way. He's in 5th spot on the racetrack, first in the Superstock 600. And then 5 riders back in Superstock 600 is Michael Gilbert. So Gilbert losing a heap of points in his bid for the Superstock 600 title in that class.
Great little shot there, JD Beach, just catching that inside curving, Greg, that we saw him do a lap ago. And didn't slow him down much, 28.1. And the lap prior to that, he went 28 flat. So even with that, he's still keeping the power down. And the grip on that thing still looks amazing, too. We're waiting for that battle. Waiting for, there we go. There's JD Beach coming through. Gets through that last corner. Now we're going to look for, JD Beach onto the front straightaway. He's got 3 to go, Greg, when they come by this time.
3 to go in this one for JD Beach. JD looking for, as weird as it sounds, only his 5th race win of the season.
Yeah.
Remember, end of last season, he went on an 8-race win streak. He's actually going to snap his teammate Garrett Gerloff's 7-race win streak if he can get it to the checkered flag first. That debris still on the racetrack. Not a horrible spot for that debris to be on there.
No, not at all.
On the straightaway, people can see it, get around it.
People have seen it enough now too, Greg, lap after lap. We actually had a baby deer on the track this morning.
Is that right?
And yeah, running across the track this morning, all in this little section. It's getting kind of scary.
I thought it was a rabbit.
Back half of the racetrack, over what they call the jump.
Yep.
Just straight line it, no reason to go left, go right. And by the way, that's a setup point. You got to have a bike that's actually able to do that.
Yep.
When we first came here, it was kind of like a nuisance in a way.
Yeah.
Getting through lap traffic is JD Beach. 183. Nick Doolin out of Texas on the Lone Star Track Days Racing motorcycle.
Yeah.
He'll get out of the way.
Good job there for Nick. He saw the blue flags there, so he was able to get out of the way.
You think this crew right here, that's part of that crew is the Superbike effort. As they look on at their rider, JD Beach, could come away with a victory, and their other rider, Garrett Gerloff. Monster Energy, Yamalu, YES, Graves, Yamaha riders win the race, and the other one, the championship. That's what's at stake here, race 1 at Barber Motorsports Park. There's the #1 plate, and it's now only half a straightaway as Garrett Gerloff is putting on the charge.
Yeah.
And Benny Solis now 29.3.
Traffic definitely hurt those guys in front of Garrett right now, and Garrett might have been able to get through them just a little bit easier. But now, Garrett might be just motivated enough to go chase Benny down for sure. It looks like he is. He goes 27.4 on that last lap, and that was getting through traffic.
And the fastest lap of the race on lap 17 for Garrett Gerloff. 127.474. I think if he feels anything, if the rear tire spins up a little bit, if he starts to lose the front, he'll back it down a smidge, but because he's got that championship. But now Benny Solis looks like he is a sitting duck as Girloff has closed it up just like that.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, Greg, and it's probably going to happen after this little left-right section. Garrett carries so much speed through here, and he'll probably duck underneath Benny as they go on down to the next left. Let's see if he does it.
Up the inside goes Garrett Gerloff, and after running off the track, he's now standing on the podium. Does Benny Solis have any fight in him?
Garrett Gerloff just gets spit up out of the seat just a little bit there as they go through, as they come down into that right-hand corner.
Well, Benny likes to take that wide line, and I'm not sure it really helps or takes away as they have different lines, but Solis onto the front straightaway will get into the tuck. But that 2017 R6 as Garrett's brother looks on, came out to the event to cheer on his older brother, Garrett.
And it just kind of shows you the dominance that Garrett Gerloff has had this year, Greg. Not only did he run off the track and through the gravel, he ran through the gravel onto more grass, took his time to get back on, wasn't in any hurry, didn't make any extra mistakes.
And then told his crew, calm down, no big deal. We got
Absolutely, yeah. I've got this handled, guys.
So now it's JD Beach, 9.8 seconds over Valentin DeBees. Now Valentin, on this final lap, is 3 seconds ahead of Garrett Gerloff. So, yeah, Jason, you said you think it's impossible he's going to win this race, but definitely not impossible to stand on the podium. When push comes to shove, though, Valentin DeBees, 1.1 seconds slower than Garrett Gerloff. Not much in it. There's a look at the M4X Star Suzuki rider, although some lap traffic.
Yeah, but Valentin's already got through it, so
yeah,
he's a little bit safe. Garrett doesn't need to do anything too crazy here. You know, he's got the championship in hand. I know he wants to go chase people, but he's got one corner to go. Gonna get that #1 plate again and a big bonus.
So the race win will go to the 95 JD Beach, who takes home victory, his 5th on the season for the Monster Energy Yamalube YS Graves Yamaha rider. And that all started off the start. And how about this? Valentin DeBees, 2nd place, Garrett Gerloff, a solid 3rd place finish, and will take home the national championship. So congratulations to JD Beach, Garrett Gerloff. As for Valentin DeBees, that'll be his 6th 2nd place finish of the year and his 4th in the last 5 races for the M4X Star Suzuki rider. Teammates, talking about that good race, I'm sure JD Beach had a great view of Garrett Gerloff sending it into Charlotte's Web and off the racetrack.
Yeah, you're going to
see what he thinks.
You'll probably hear Garrett make fun of himself a little bit there, but you know, hey, how many mistakes have we seen this guy make in the last 6 races?
Not many.
0.
Not many.
So for him to get a little anxious to try to get by JD earlier there, we'll forgive him for that. Congratulations to this whole crew. Yamaha R6 is definitely the bike to beat this year.
And I want to make this known, okay? So when we look at Garrett Gerloff's stats for the season, Jason, he's only had 1 round where he scored 0 points. He's got 10 wins, 4 seconds, and 2/3. We'll hear from him after the break. Stay with us here at Barber Motorsports Park.
Yeah, Dan.
Not Superstock 600 just yet. A celebration. Garrett Gerloff,
okay,
his
that's
friends
fine.
and family down there, taking his 2nd MotoAmerica National Championship. And he really did it in fine style. And there's a lot of chatter about who is going to get the Superbike ride for next year. Is Gachet's going to sit in his seat? Will he be moved into a test role in a guest ride? Is Garrett Gerloff going to move up? What's going to happen? There's a lot of off-season drama surrounding this #1 plate of Garrett Gerloff's and what we will see as the factory Yamaha Superbike squad for next season. But right now, with JD Beach's victory, Valentin DeBees in the 2nd spot, Garrett Gerloff in 3rd, enough points collected where he could just not race tomorrow and watch it if he wanted to and it'd still be national champion.
I think he should ride the 600 Superbike.
I don't
That all year. This morning would have been like 6 quickest during practice session, but obviously a little.
You are, because obviously a 600 going that speed does it in a different way than a Superbike does.
Correct.
His corner speed, especially from mid-corner getting out of it, that's where he's worked on a lot. All right, but the man of the hour right now, for the moment, is JD Beach, who won the race, and he's with Hannah.
JD. Garrett ran off and you saw it happen. What was going through your mind at that moment during the race, and how did you put your head down and just concentrate and focus to bring it home for the win today?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty sure Garrett didn't go down, and he's a really strong rider, and I knew if he got back on the track, he was still gonna want to win. So I just tried to do as laps as I could, and just try and stay consistent and race my lap timer. And I mean, I guess even a blind squirrel can find a nut sometimes.
Well, congrats on your 5th win of the season.
Good old.
Even a blind. Give
Good
me a
old
break.
JD. I love
I
it.
know, yeah.
Hey, JD, you're not a blind squirrel. You're a national champion yourself. And,
Absolutely.
He's way too good. But,
Yeah, it
but
looks like
But he said he raced
we've
his
got
lap
him.
timers, and that's really the telling sign. And he did a good job of being very consistent throughout the whole race.
yeah, he's still running within 3/4 tenths of his fastest lap of the race with 3 or 4 laps to go. So yeah, very, very good job, JD.
Now let's go down to Hannah, who has our champion, Garrett Gerloff. He had some ride getting there.
Congratulations on winning the championship yet again. That was one you really had. That was one you really had to work for. You ran off. Tell us a little bit about what happened and how you fought your way back to a podium finish, no less.
What am I doing out there, gosh? Didn't expect to do that. I mean, I thought all practice and stuff, JD was braking like a marker behind me, and so I was just like, well, go to where he brakes, and then I'll just go one more. But that was one pass where I go, so that thing wasn't slowing down, and I knew I was running off, and I was like, well, guess I'll make the rest of the race interesting. I won't be biting my nails the whole time, you know. Benny came up slow, but lucky I got him in the last lap. These guys deserve to be on the podium and on top of the box, so I'm glad JD was able to put it up there. But just thanks so much to the whole team and everybody. Like, this has been a dream year, especially the last half of the season, and I really wanted to make it like 8 in a row or something like that. But congrats to JD. He's been killing it all year, and back to riding good, and looking forward to the next race tomorrow. But can't believe it. So excited for this second championship, and can't wait to see what happens in the future. Woo!
Congratulations. Thank you, Garrett.
Congratulations to Garrett Gerloff. He's from Texas.
Yep.
And, of course, he's thinking about the victims of the hurricane as well as he's proud of his home.
Wow,
This is where it all started for
He just
Garrett
got
Gerloff.
up in there, and
Love shaking the head.
No, you love it watching him shaking his head there, and now he's motocrossing through the gravel. But look how long it took him to get going, Greg. He was on the, but didn't, you know, once he got back out there, he was carving through people, and this is what he did to Benny on a lap and a half to go, let's say. He was able to slide his R6 underneath Benny there, and he saw DeBees. Maybe one more lap. DeBees might have been the next victim, but very, very great season for Garrett Gerloff.
Congratulations to Garrett Gerloff and his championship and podium finish. No better way to wrap up your championship than being able to stand on the podium as well as teammates congratulate each other. All right, let's go back down to Hannah, who has more from Victory Lane.
That's right. I'm down here with our second place finisher today, Valentin DeBees. That was quite a race. You were battling it out with Benny for quite a while there. He's putting a lot of pressure on you, but you managed to get around him. It looks like the lap traffic, must have slowed him up a little bit. Tell us about how you managed to get away from him.
Yeah, that's really cool that Benny get up to speed and be able to fight with me. He give me a lot of pressure every time I go into the corner. I can hear his bike coming crazy, and so I was like, okay, just stay calm, be consistent on your lap time. And that's what I tried to do. So all my lap time was quite good and not as fast as I would like, but still really consistent. So that's a really good point compared to the previous race. And just need a little bit something more tomorrow, and we can fight for some more. But already good second position. It's a good result for me, and I'm glad that my team always helped me again. So thanks to them and for Suzuki X-Star Racing Team.
All right, thanks, Valentin. Congratulations.
All right, for fastest lap of the race for Valentin DeBees, it was a 28 flats compared to, say, JD Beach's 27.6, Jason.
Yeah, he's not that far off,
Not
is he,
that
Greg?
far,
But
and-
it's the consistency to
Yeah.
be able to do that lap over and over and over again, and that's where I think when the tires are new, Valentin can run with anybody. And if Valentin was on the same bike and all that, he would be winning races. The thing is that on the bike he's on right now, it's just sustaining those lap times, and that's what makes it a little bit harder for him and Benny, I think, than the other two guys.
Let's take a look at the results from this race. You see Jason Beach with a 9.8 second margin victory over Valentin DeBees.
He won. I don't
Girloff
know
over
the
Benny
results were.
DeBees. He's going to be very disappointed about that one, no question about it. Jason Aguilar
the
wins the
results
Superstock
were?
600 race. Nick McFadden will stand on the podium again, and our Canadian, Ray North, that beautiful body work on this race. He will finish 7th on the track, 3rd lap finish on the Amazon, 111 on that Kawasaki
job by Lucas Silva, also happy him in the top 50.
So many great stories, so many great races going on at the same time. Championship standings have Garrett Gerloff 37 points ahead of JD Beach with only 25 available. That'll wrap our championship up. Down to the Bees, holding on to a solid third place. Dennis Sport. And then there's our Superstock 600 riders, Aguilar, Gilbert, Bad, Levins, and Ray North. Again, that's in the Supersport class. Those riders don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. No bragging rights, but we'll take a break. On the other side, more from Barber. A look at the podium. As you can see, first, second, and third ended up there. And Mike Canfield standing there next to JD Beach. He's going to take a team award. That's why he gets to stand there. But before we get all this stuff, let's go to Hannah, who has our Superstock 600 winner.
That's right, I'm here with Jason Aguilar. Jason, after some bad luck in New Jersey this week, are you feeling like you redeemed yourself a little bit in this fight toward the championship here today?
Yeah, the win's definitely good redemption. It was 25 points. I'm happy with it. It's a little bit hot out here, so I'm definitely wiped, but like I said, 25 points, happy with it. Try to seal the deal tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Jason. Congrats.
Good job by Jason Aguilar in his bid for this championship. He did what he had to do, and he definitely put what happened in New Jersey in good perspective. MotoAmerica on beIN Sports was presented by Dunlop and the all-new Sport Max Q3 Plus. Now you don't have to sacrifice mileage to get top performance. Dunlop.